Kale Drums here, and what I got here and what I want to show you guys is a do-it-yourself drum trigger uh, that I made from a old Yamaha riding snare that I had lying around, and some really inexpensive parts. The technology behind electric drum triggers is really simple, and unfortunately, Roland and Yamaha and Pintec and Alesis and all them, they like to jack up the prices so damn high that most people can't afford it. And seeing how that, like I mentioned earlier, that the technology is so easy. I just wanted to show you guys how I went about doing it all, and hopefully it inspires you to make your own triggers and you know uh, something you can show off to your friends if you want, but also utilize it in the studio or live. So starting with the head, what I did is I went down to Home Depot and bought their vinyl screen mesh, like you would for to replace a screen door or what have you. And what I did was I took the material and I cut it 2 inches bigger than what the actual head size is. In this case, this is a 13-inch snare drum, so I cut the material to 15 inches. And then in order to get the hoop, I used the hoop from the old snare head, and I cut the mylar material off the old snare head, and then laid this on the mesh vinyl and stretched it, the excess pieces over, clamped it down, and started stitching. And one thing I want to note is when you do this, you want to lay it in a crisscross pattern like this. It gives it strength, and it looks, of course, a lot nicer. Gives it that durability you really need. And like I mentioned, I stitched it up all the way around after I had it, all the excess folded in, clamped down. And I used a crocheting string, which is pretty durable. I've seen some tutorials where they use leather stringing and stuff like that, which if you do use that route, you want to be sure to get an upholstery needle, because it is a little bit thicker and you're not going to get that stuff through the eye of a regular sewing needle like you would with crochet string or what have you. Some people also use chalk line string as well, which you can also get at Home Depot. And you can see the finished product. It is pretty quiet. It's got a good bounce, like like you would normally find on like the Pintec and Roland heads. It's really sturdy. I'm kind of a hard hitter, so it'll definitely last you. Now for the trigger was pretty simple. I went with a 1/4 inch hookup because it's pretty standard. There are some tutorials where you go from like 3/8 inch RCA to 1/4 inch, which there's nothing wrong with that. Either, whatever suits your needs, perfect. So what I did is I went down to Home Depot and I bought what's called a roof truss clip. And then Radio Shack, I bought a piezo and a 1/4 inch mono jack. And I put some double-sided carpet tape on the top of the clip, put the piezo on there, another piece of the double-sided carpet tape, and then I took some sanding block, cut it to size, and put it on top to give the piezo some protection. And then I wired it to the mono 1/4 inch jack. Now there are some tutorials where you can wire it up to a 3/8 inch female connector, and then run a 3/8 inch to 1/4 inch out the hole, and then you can put it on a clip that hangs off the truss rods. I think it looks kind of geeky, and I wanted to make it more streamlined, so I just went ahead and drilled into the shell and put the 1/4 inch connector right there, and you can just plug it in. You're not going to worry about losing cords or adapters or whatever, what have you. And it doesn't affect the sound, at all. I could slap this back to be an acoustic snare and still, get a decent enough sound for writing anyways, and go from there. This is a touch sensitive, if you will. Sorry to use a synthesizer term there or a piano term there, but the softer you hit it, the softer the sound will be. The harder you hit it, the louder it will be. You don't get a really good rim sound. The only reason why I went with a single zone is because the module that I use is a DM5, and the DM5 will do dual zone. And those familiar with the DM5 know that you got to use 2 ports and assign 2 different sounds to those ports, which also means another jack, and I just really didn't want to go that route, especially with the hopes of upgrading my module this summer. But for those of you who are curious and have a module like a Roland TD20 or whatever and want to make a dual zone, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is put another piezo inside the snare on the shell, change out the mono jack for a stereo jack, and then of course wire it accordingly, and you got yourself a dual zone snare. So if you want that rim sound, you're going to get that rim sound. If you want, the snare head, you can get the snare head, or if you want the rim to act as a cowbell or timbale or whatever, whatever you sign it, that's what it's going to be. So that's pretty much it. I really hope this inspires you to go out and do this. I have plans of making more videos that are detailed. I want to convert my toms and stuff like that from an old Yamaha drum set that I have, and really get into detail about how I did it so people can follow along as they build theirs. Like I've mentioned before, there are some videos and some tutorials for the head and for making the trigger, and some are detailed, some of them are pretty vague, and I'm a guy that likes a lot of detail and a lot of step-by-step, why it works and how it works and blah blah blah. So depending on the responses I get, hopefully that's something that people are excited about, and when I get to that point, I'll do it. So anyways, like I mentioned before, I hope this inspires you to do it. Hopefully I get enough responses on YouTube to really sit down and make a tutorial for the head and the trigger. And that's it. You'll have a great morning, day, or evening wherever you're at, and look forward to hearing your comments. Bye.